Federal Reserve, printing money, bankruptcy coming, difficulties in the market. But everything is okay because unemployment rates are low. So the planners say, well, that's a good sign, so we can bank on a low unemployment rate, and therefore we can raise interest rates a little bit after a lot of pressure from other people to raise interest rates and deal with the inflation. But the one reason why I bring a subject up of the unemployment rate is it is low, but is it a market indicator? Is it really because we have a healthy economy? Or I would suggest it could be because in the last year and a half or even more, and even traditionally, people who are in threat of unemployment or unemployed, they get a lot of subsidies, from the government. So, and then people drop out of the workforce. So the low unemployment number, I don't think people should bank on it and see this as the one sign that we can hold our hat on, because most of them are more worried and are recognizing that prices are going up. But this is something they have to be concerned about. But the other reason why unemployment might be low is that we hear the stories, the complications coming from COVID, and they're not wanting to work under all these rules and regulations. That's part of it. But the confusion in the marketplace is such where people whose income has been going down, they say, what do you mean? Minimum wage is up, everybody's getting more money. Yes, but not real wealth. They're getting more dollars, and they may be taking this opportunity because there's confusion, and jobs are shifting. Some jobs are, staying out of the workplace, and therefore they just think this is a time to look around. So that would add to the unemployment. Otherwise, what I'm saying is the unemployment number does look good, but I think that's a little bit of fiction, and they ought to stick with their concern, about the inflation rate. And there certainly is a lot of things there, whether you look at the CPI or the PPI, or if you look at how much the average household lost last year in the increase in purchasing power or increasing cost of living, it's been drastic. So wages and the people are worse off in the last year, and that's generally the case with inflation. So there's still a lot of problems there, but there's a lot of people chiming in, telling Powell what to do, and Powell, like all chairman of the Federal Reserve, they do respond, and this week there was a little bit of that, and he was on again, off again about what he should do with the balance sheet and whether he should not buy so many treasury bills, to keep the market stable by keeping interest rates at zero. So I think it's dangerous where we live, and I think also the fact that yesterday was a big booming day and interest for the people who have invested in conventional, conventional way with stocks and bonds. And the whole thing is there's also today there's a lot of options coming due, $4.3 trillion option, and that's usually an exciting day. Maybe it's a painful day, maybe it's a really exciting, and people are going to make some money. But I think there's some nervous tension with that. But that's I imagine that comes mostly toward the end of the day. But we may still see a lot of fireworks today. Maybe right now the activity on Wall Street is rather calm compared to yesterday. But who knows what the next hour may bring. The people who are responsible for this, and you've already mentioned it, the Federal Reserve is ultimately the deliverer of the inflation because they control the money supply and interest rates. But it's not quite that simple. I'm frequently stopped on the street by individuals who will assume that I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican in the Congress, that they'll strike up a conversation. Well, what's this Biden doing? Biden caused all this inflation. Of course, I can't defend Biden, but nevertheless, I usually want to just clarify it a little bit. I said, I think some of this stuff is bipartisan. I think the Republicans spend a lot of money. I think they printed a lot of money too. I think they accumulated a lot of debt too when they were in office. So this is the whole thing. So it's not so simple to say that it's Biden and Biden, like like Powell, they respond, to a lot of people who are making noise, who are saying, do this, do that. Deficits don't matter. They've all been brainwashed with Keynesian economics and now Marxist economics and the modern monetary theories. These kinds of things are badgered around, and they try to give justification to the politician and the Federal Reserve to do exactly what they're doing. But the numbers don't look good. For instance, right now there's been an increase a vote in the national debt limit, just last week, from by another $2.5 trillion. They're supposed to have a debt limit so the Congress realized, we can't spend money. The debt limit is stopping us. We're going to back off. Never happened. And then there's this weeks and weeks, and we heard it all summer and winter. We have to deal with it. Yellen would enter into it and say, you got to take care of it. Raise the debt limit. Off, on and on. And, Christmas is coming, vacation is coming, and they're getting tired of this argument. They all know that there's going to be no so-called bankruptcy of the kind where you don't get a check. That's not going to happen. The people are going to get paid, and they're going to get their welfare checks and their Social Security checks. It's just that it's going to be less in purchasing power. But they wanted to raise the limit because it looks good, and the people have been saying, I wonder who's going to win this political battle. Will the Republicans be able to stop this thing from raising the debt level? And lo and behold, there was a little bit of pause there, and I think somebody on the Republican side got together with the Democratic side, and guess what? They had an agreement to raise the national debt limit by $2.5 trillion. So they're good in it way into the next year. And even that is just, I see that as all temporary, because they have no idea what can happen. I mean, for all the stupid things we're doing in our foreign policy, we could end up in a hot war. We might be sending thousands of troops to Taiwan, and we might be sending troops to Ukraine, and who knows, a lot more than we have. And all of a sudden, the expenses will change. Just look how quickly the expenses changed with COVID, which was not exactly what they told us. I think it was exaggerated, but immediately there was a lot of spending. So even this increase in the debt limit, that was considered, I don't know who they considered winning. I think the Democrats won that because they got the Republicans to go along with it. But it's just, again, deceiving the people, deceiving themselves without ever mentioning the real problem. They know inflation is bad, the cost of living is going up, people's incomes in real terms are going down, but they are not going to ever hint to it and say, you know what the problem is, Chris? We have to admit that the problem is that we spent too much money, we run up the debt, and then we give that to the Federal Reserve. So, it's real easy for me and you to say, it's the Federal Reserve's fault, which is true. If we didn't have it, they wouldn't do it. But they, too, act as a facilitator. The real problem is the large majority of the American people who either don't think about it or just go along with it and say, well, this isn't the time to cut back. I mean, if you have COVID epidemic, are you going to cut back on anything? No, that's not going to happen. If you have somebody threatening us like Saddam Hussein did, I mean, he was about ready to drop bombs on us. You can't not spend more money. And so the lobbyists in the military-industrial complex continue, and the people who really suffer, and that's the middle class and the poor, because their cost of living goes up, and that's their tax. So that's the problem. They don't want to talk about that. Once that becomes the subject, then you can't do a thing unless you decide to spend less money and live within our means. So we'll wait and see. We'll keep preaching what we think is the gospel, and maybe someday our governments and our politicians will be forced to do it, because they're going to run out of even the use of the Federal Reserve note, because eventually, the inflation will be so bad that they're going to have to come around for monetary reform.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.